A problem many players struggle with is that they're crazy correct and creative, but when it comes to real games, ranked, or tournaments, they just can't perform at that same skill level. Today I'm going to walk you through the exact steps I took to successfully transfer my creative skills into competitive gameplay. I genuinely believe that if you have the dedication and skill to master something like creative, you have the tools it takes to master tournaments too. The skills you've built up in creative aren't useless. They're actually the foundation for going pro or just ranking up. But to make that jump, you need to understand what separates creative from actual gameplay and how to bridge that gap. One of the first major differences you'll notice is ping. In creative, your ping is usually stable and a lot lower, especially if you're hosting the map or you're on your home server. That stability is great for practicing mechanics, but it doesn't prepare you for the inconsistencies of real games. So how do you practice for your real in-game ping? I use two strategies for this. The first is switching to a different server region. If you're like me and you play on NA West, then central ping is very close to what I get in ranked or tournaments. But for EU or other regions, this might be harder since secondary regions usually spike your ping. Still, it's worth testing and finding the closest map possible. The second method is using a VPN to increase your ping artificially. Sounds weird, right? But if you set your VPN to a location that reroutes your signal more efficiently, like going from Arizona to LA or something completely else, you can simulate your in-game ping. For me, that gets me close to 50 ping, which is what I usually play in tournaments on. Then I'll go into 1v1s or realistics on that setup. It feels a lot more like the real thing. You should train on your in-game ping settings for 15 to 30 minutes a day minimum. Don't just warm up on perfect ping and expect that to translate. Real fights happen in rougher conditions, and you want your muscle memory and awareness to be ready for that. Now, ping isn't the only difference. FPS and input delay are a big deal too. In creative, your game runs smooth most of the time, but in tournaments, especially end games, frames can tank and input delay can skyrocket. That kind of inconsistency can ruin your mechanics if you're not used to it. There are a few ways to simulate this. First, you can cap your FPS to what you typically get in endgame, say 120 instead of your 240 FPS, but that only goes so far. To go even deeper, you can open up background apps on PC to stress your CPU and simulate the lag and delay of real matches. It's not perfect, but it helps train your consistency under less than ideal conditions. Combine that with higher ping settings, and now you've got the closest thing to a real tournament experience inside of your creative maps. This kind of training is underrated because it's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is what prepares you best. Another mistake players make is practicing on unrealistic maps. Look, infinite mats 1v1 and box fight maps can be fun and useful for isolating certain skills, but they don't teach real game decision making. You're never going to get better at surviving off spawn or making smart rotations by doing only infinite material PGs. Instead, play realistics and full-scale ZONEWARS maps. These maps simulate actual game fights and they give you a real pressure. I highly recommend Forever ZONEWARS and some of the new maps. They've now added a duo version too, and there's many other things. These maps remove the downtime between rounds, which keeps the intensity high and replicates endgame scenarios without wasting time. There's a new one by Ken Beans that I really like. I don't know the name of the map, but you guys should play that one as well. Play these maps for 30 to 60 minutes a day. When you can consistently drop 20 bomb games in that environment, start doing it with higher ping and worse FPS. If you can still dominate, then you're truly improving at the game. Even in realistics, make sure you and your partner are playing with urgency. One of the problems I see is players dragging out fights. That's not how tournaments work. In a real match, you want to end fights fast while preserving as many mats and heals as you can. You always want to win without taking any damage. Find a partner who understands that and plays the same way. If you can't find someone better than you, find someone with similar skill who's always trying to improve. Next up, your mentality. Too many players are obsessed with their rank or their tracker stats. They're so focused on placements that they stop playing to get better. If you're trying to hit Unreal or qualify for FNCS, you'll get there faster by focusing on improvement over your stats. Yeah, camping to Unreal technically works, but if you want to hit Unreal and stay there, you'll need to start fighting and rotation skills to match. W-king and fighting bad players might get you killed sometimes, but over time it makes you better. Your tracker might look worse for a bit, but once you're consistently winning fights, that PR will go way up faster than it would have if you just tracked your stats. And now for one of the biggest reasons creative warriors don't perform well in matches: pacing. The pacing of a creative match is way different than an actual tournament game. Real matches have slow builds and decision-based transitions. For example, off-spawn fights force you to fight with gray guns and 50 mats. Mid-game forces you to balance risk and reward. Endgame is all about zone awareness and smart tunneling. None of that really happens in creative unless the map is specifically built for all of those. You need to learn how to adapt to each phase. Off-spawn, survive and loot. Mid-game, pick fights wisely or disengage. Endgame, rotate cleanly and track zone pulls. These are high IQ skills that no creative map can fully replicate. Other skills that don't exist in creative: dropping and landing correctly. It's a huge deal. A bad drop can ruin your whole game. And if you never play real match, you won't know how to consistently your POI first. You've actually got to practice it. And once again, drop maps are a great way to do this. I have some custom drop maps made for you guys in my Discord server, so make sure you guys join my Discord server, as well as I have a previous video on how to make your own drop maps so you guys can set them up perfectly so you are the first person to your drop no matter where it is. And rotations are another one. Creative maps don't make you rotate through real terrain with third parties watching every move. The decision making in real lobbies is completely different. Do you rotate through the river and risk a gatekeep, or take height and waste your mats? You only learn that by playing. Gun meta matters too. A lot of the current weapons aren't even in creative. You need in-game reps with them, fill out of the bloom, recoil, reload times, everything. Third-party pressure is different too. In tournaments, you'll get sprayed by 4 people if you edit the wrong wall. That pressure doesn't simply exist in a 1v1 type map. You also need a real map knowledge. Where are the chests? Which rocks give you the most brick? Where's the nearest mobility or slurp chuck or heals? You won't learn that from creative. Only in game or like Fortnite.gg where it shows everything on the map. Then there's the ability to self-review and identify your mistakes. In creative, when you die, it's obvious why. You missed a shot or mistimed an edit. In game, you have to ask if it was a bad rotate, a poor mid-game choice, or even if you should have taken the fight in the first place. That critical thinking is a must in any stance to get better at the game no matter what. And finally, nerves. Creative is comfortable. Ranked and tournaments are pressure-packed. Even cracked players fall apart when it actually counts because they're not used to the adrenaline. You can train for this too. Make bets in creative like winner gets $5 or loser does push-ups, create stakes, or try chewing gum during real games. There's actual science showing it lowers stress and improves focus, and don't overlook distractions. If you got chores or homework hanging over your head, you're not fully locked in, clear that stuff out and let your brain focus 100%. I actually tried the chewing gum strategy and I actually started placing a lot better in all my tournaments. For example, I played the Cash Cup last night and I was doing insanely well when I had chewing gum. As soon as I spit my gum out, I actually performed way worse because I was way more stressed out in end games. I don't know why, it just was. Also, that's why you see most pros not get super stressed in end games, while new players that play creative a lot do get stressed in end games, because the creative warriors do not have the practice in those set end games and those lobbies, and they do not know what to do under all that pressure and all the inconsistencies and everything, the missed edits, everything, the rotates. Once again, all of the things leading up to this is because they're focused on creative stuff that doesn't move over to in-game stuff. Pros have thousands of hours practicing scrims and playing tournaments, and that's why they all know why they lost or how to counter those inconsistencies. They always fix them no matter what, and they always find a way to make the best out of their inconsistencies or their bad loot. When you play in creative, you can't naturally do that because you do not have those set situations that you would have in a real game. Remember, you guys need to focus on real game scenarios. Realistics, Martaz Turtle Wars, which are pressure fights. Don't do stuff with unlimited mats, with unlimited guns, unlimited ammo. That stuff is just a waste of time in my opinion. Learn and practice the stuff you actually need for end game fights. Remember guys, the quality of your practice is a lot more important than the quantity of your practice as well. So make sure you guys are getting good set reps in so that you can actually improve instead of just spending 8 hours on the game and not improving at the game whatsoever. And for everyone who made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it a lot. If you enjoyed, consider liking and subscribing if you want to see more content like this. And use code NOTFLOW in the Fortnite item shop to help support me. And join the Discord in the description if you guys want assets like the drop maps to help you go pro and other people to talk to on how to get better at the game. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, and peace, guys.